Travel nursing can bring you to places you've never been before. Tell us your story.
Hi, it's Rita at the Travel Nurse Channel once again on a Tuesday. Hope you're well. Tuesday. Thirsty Tuesday? No, Thirsty Thursday. Tuesday. Ruby Tuesday. It is my pleasure to be here on the Travel Nurse Channel. We are a conduit for nurses, particularly travel nurses and other travel healthcare workers and those who employ them. So we hope you found us, and I plan on having lots of guest speakers. You've just got me today, and I thought I'd talk about why I am a nurse. I've been a nurse for like 100 years now, since the 70s, since the 1970s, and still love it, still get to do it a little bit. This is one way. It is the 18th of May, and this month has flown by, and it is actually National Nurses Month. We had National Nurses Day about 2 weeks ago, but it's actually National Nurses Month. So I think I would like to share with you some stories that I found scrolling through the many nurse sites, and some stories of why nurses love what they do. While I was doing that, my title has been a few things. I've been a manager, I've been a director, I've been a president when I had my own nursing agency, and I always had my RN there. But in the credentialing world and the advanced practice nurse world, as I was reading nurses' stories, I found so many. So I'll throw a few out at you today, and we'll at the end we'll focus. Let me make sure I get comments. So hello everybody, thank you for joining me. If you're there, you're welcome to we're live on Facebook from about 10 in the morning till 11 on Tuesdays, pretty routinely. Sometimes I will post or stream on a different day. It's just because my schedule didn't allow the Tuesday, or whoever I am speaking with live may not be able to do it on a Tuesday. So we think live is a great way to go. I'm not professional on a live stream, so excuse me for all my errors. Just sitting here in my office in my home and trying to reach you. But so you can comment while we're broadcasting, while I'm broadcasting today, or any other time that the Travel Nurse Channel is streaming and broadcasting. So I welcome that. And I have a few regular friends that usually tune in, and I appreciate them very much. So before I get to some of the wonderful stories, I thought I would go through, I started jotting them down because some of them made so much sense to me. Like an ASN is associate of applied science nurse, ASN. There are also RNs that get their nursing degree through a nursing school, so they are considered, I think everybody has to have at least that associate of nursing, associate of applied science. So it's an AAS degree, and you get your RN. You sit for boards whatever state you're in, and you get your RN after your name. You don't see that too often after a name, the AAS, Associate of Applied Science. You often will see BS or BSN, Bachelors of Nursing Science. It's these more advanced degrees that get some, that get you wondering. So I'll throw one out at you. MSOL. MSOL. It's a Master's of Science in Organizational Leadership. How about that? It's a good one. So these advanced degrees, okay, here I go. Boy, my hair is so gray. Isn't it amazing? It's only been about a month and a half, 2 months since I stopped with all the chemicals that were drying my old hairs out. So I'm pretty gray. And it's okay. I'm a grandma. I'm supposed to have some wisdom hairs. Okay, I'm washing my hands because I touched. Okay, MSOL is the Masters of Science in Organizational Leadership. It's a great degree to have. There's some that are similar to that. Let me see if I find one. Well, this is in the same realm. NEA-BC. NEA-BC. That's a nurse executive advanced board certified. I believe the AACN provides a lot of these certificates. Let's go down to that note I made about AACN. The AACN is the American Association of Critical Care Nurses, and they have been leaders and directors of best practices for a long time, and they have many programs. They have thousands, hundreds of thousands of members. They've been around for about 2021, I want to say since the 1980s. So that's about 40 years. So that's the American Association of Critical Care Nurses. That's the AACN. So one of the degrees you can get, not degrees, but certifications you can get from them, regardless if you have your master's or your bachelor's or your associate or your diploma, which is when I, back in the 70s, was a nurse, I started in a diploma program and switched over to the college and got a degree there. So they're still, I think they're still around, and it was a great way. I spent a lot of time, we were in dorms, we were in the hospital every day, we were in the classroom several times a week. I was in the classroom more than that because I was trying to get into a program at the college. So, but we had a lot of time in the hospital, so that was nice. When I did switch over to the college program, I had less time. I had some clinic time in clinic settings, but less time in the actual hospital, so I did miss that. And I did kind of miss the dorms, even though it was all women. It was a lot of fun. It was a lot of fun, actually. We ate a lot of peanut butter toast. We were poor. Anyway, back to the AACN, the American Association of Critical Care Nurses. The CCRN certificate they provide is a CCRN, Critical Care Registered Nurse, right? They have another one called the CSC. Do you know what that is? Cardiac surgery. It's a cardiac surgery certificate. How about ACCNS? These acronyms are crazy, right? It's an acute care clinical nurse specialist, and that is a wonderful thing to have. Usually approach that with a lot of clinical background and education, and it's really nice to have. So it's the acute care, AC, clinical, another C, nurse specialist. Now there are several in the realm too where you can specialize. So I'll give you one. A PCCN is a progressive care nursing degree, a nursing certificate. There's another one, a CMC, that's a cardiac medicine certificate. And there's one that's a CM as in mom, CN, that's a certificate in managed care nursing. There's just so many, I can't even name them all. The acute care nurse, ACNPC, is the acute care nurse practitioner. There's just too many. What's another one? Here's another one. You've heard of the FNP, the family nurse practitioner, where you put a C in front of that, and that's a certified family nurse practitioner. There's one that's very similar to that. nurse practitioner. Oh, you could put the C before or after the initials. So you can be a CNP, a certified nurse practitioner, or you could be a nurse, an NP-C, a nurse practitioner certified. Just crazy stuff. Lots of acronyms. FNPC is a family nurse practitioner certified. You can put that C anywhere. Advanced registered nurse practitioner is an ARNP. I mean, they go on and on. So the AACN provides a lot of certifications. Another one is the ANCC, the American Nurses Credentialing Center certifications. And then there's another one, AAP, it's Advanced Academic Programs. So all of these acronyms are wonderful, and wonderful for you to take the time to really understand what you're practicing, where you're focusing, where others before you have, narrowed those programs down into a specific area of concern, whether it's cardiac, family practice, nurse practitioners practice, RN practices. There are even some for LVNs. So everybody out there that wants more certification, feels like they've gained a lot of knowledge, they want to be certified in it so they can advance their careers or help their organization that they're working with as they may be in traveling, that you have all these wonderful experiences and gaining more practice experience that you want to put a certification there with it. Or maybe you're approaching your decision to get an advanced degree in master's or doctorate, and you want the focus to be in a certain area. And so these certifications are really, really wonderful. Let's get to the stories, okay? I know I'm kind of reading to you, but I thought when I'm telling someone's story, I don't want to leave a piece out that they are they want to make. So I got a lot of this from a university, somewhere in the United States. And this nurse is an RN NP-C, so that's a nurse practitioner certified, right? And he or she says, because their name is nebulous, so I don't know if it's a he or a she. As a nurse, I have a flexible career. Anyway, before I get on with my stories, they're such good stories. Know that you can comment, ask a question, tune in. I could bring you into the broadcast. All those things are possible. And I will be here for about 40 minutes, 35 or 40 more minutes. So, so just know that you can do that, and thank you. Okay, so this is a nurse story that I read. It's from, it's on a university somewhere in the United States where they blog and they chat and so forth. And this is one nurse's story. As a nurse, I have a flexible career that allows me to pursue my passions while also having, and it's, excuse me, interrupting myself. It has to do with why nurses love what they do. Most nurses love what they do because it is a caring profession. They have a lot of patient interaction. Not so much in the OR and, certain areas when your patients are unconscious and so forth, but there's always a lot of caring involved, whether it be for the patient or the patient's family. In the ICU, sometimes patients they've had a lot of trauma or serious illness. For whatever reason, they may not be completely conscious. We always think the ears are the last to go. And now I'm touching again so I can fix my hair, get it out of my face, and wash my hands. So I think many, many nurses go into it because it is a caring profession. It's different than maybe some other engineering professions or wherever, where you're not really caring for individuals. As an engineer, you would care for maybe communities or corporations and various things. I mean, there's so many jobs out there. This particular profession started way back with nurses in France. Florence Nightingale is the classic example. And I think when I approached it, it was sort of, I had romanticized it as a kid, reading my golden books and so forth. But as I grew up, things just didn't appeal to me. And I really didn't back in the 70s, when I was getting ready to get my next level of education after high school, I didn't really have a lot of ideas. I had so much fun. Learning came easily to me. The language arts, not so much math. I was kind of terrible at geography and history because I wasn't studying, enough. I wasn't studious enough about that. But language and literature and many of the sciences came pretty easily to me, the understanding of them. And so nursing appealed to me. And I think because it seemed like a caring profession, and my mom, one of my early icons and someone I learned so much from, I don't know, nursing was it. Teaching wasn't it, because I felt like I grew up with a lot of nuns teaching me, and not too many male teachers until I hit high school. Anyway, the teaching profession didn't appeal to me per se. However, nurses do a lot of teaching. So, but I just didn't have a lot of ideas. I didn't know anything about CSI. I didn't even occur to me to go into any of the services like firemen or policemen, which a lot of women do. But nursing appealed to me. And I think it was that caring piece. It's a science where now, very technological, there's a lot of technology involved in our jobs. There's a lot of machinery, I guess is the best way. There's technical, there's biological, there's so much to it, but it's interesting. It's really interesting and appeals to people for different reasons. But I do think one of the top reasons is it's a noble profession. It's a caring profession. You can blend that science and that human piece together. And so now you're going to hear some other people's stories about why they really enjoyed their career. And some people just thought, well, it's a good living. I mean, I can make so much working at a service like retail or food service or the many services that are out there. But this is professional and caring, and it is a service and so forth. So it'll be interesting to hear some of these stories. I hope you're interested as I was. So this nurse says, as a nurse, I have a flexible career that allows me to pursue my passions while also having a significant positive impact on patients at need. I was initially attracted to the nursing profession as I loved working with the elderly and had a strong interest in human physiology. There were flexible nursing programs in my local area that were affordably priced, so it was easy for me to start my RN program. I was also very excited by the opportunities to obtain advanced practice certifications and licenses through distance-based programs that were flexible and could work around my personal commitments. So hence, this RN is an NPC, a nurse practitioner certified. Throughout my nursing career, I've had the great opportunity to work in many different fields, including long-term care, psychiatric nursing, urgent care, labor relations, another area I haven't talked about. I talk all the time. We've talked about all these opportunities in nursing. Labor relations, great one. Actually met some nurses like that when I was working for a bigger corporation. And nursing informatics, we have talked about that. Okay, as you work in different specialties, your knowledge continues to grow and your ability to think outside the box increases. As an advanced practice nurse, FNP-C, family nurse practitioner certified, I've gained a deeper understanding of the healthcare system, which has a significant contribution in leading me to success in my most recent venture-backed technology startup. Wow. I've been able to take this knowledge and create a system that focuses on allowing nurses to work a flexible schedule via their mobile app, while also helping to address the staffing shortage crisis experienced in long-term facilities. Wow. This nurse was thinking outside the box. Over the past 3 years, I've had over 10,000 nursing professionals join my organization. holy moly, to pick up shifts on the side with almost unlimited opportunities. I continue to recommend the nursing profession to countless numbers of family members, friends, and acquaintances. I've yet to find another career choice that allows the flexibility and options that nursing does. So that is one nurse's story. It's just beautiful, I think. He was interested in it. He was interested in physiology. He was interested in elderly care. And he was able to have a flexible career, getting his higher education. He or she. Great story. I'm going to give you another one. Okay, this is an LPN, CHPLN. So I believe the LPN is a licensed practical nurse. In some states, it's known as a licensed vocational nurse. And CHPLN is a certified hospice palliative licensed nurse. Yay! Let me check my notes. Certified hospice palliative licensed nurse. Yeah. So wonderful, wonderful certification for LPN or an LVN. Okay, this is their story, their personal story of why they love being a nurse, and then I'll tell you mine. I really love going to bed knowing I made a difference. As an LPN at a hospice, that difference is usually making sure our patients are as comfortable as possible. But we often have the opportunity to help the patients' families too. It's satisfying to know they feel more at ease after they see the care we provide. I chose a nursing career partially because I loved biology and anatomy, and partially to have a career with which I could support myself and be independent. The further I got into my nursing education, I realized how rewarding it was to be able to make people who are sick and uncomfortable feel better, even if it's just a little. Treating people with kindness and respect goes a long way. I found my nursing career home in hospice. My nursing career home. It's a life. It's a lifestyle. Being a nurse is a lifestyle. She said, I believe it's a she. I found my nursing career home in hospice. It hasn't always been easy, but it has always been worth it. I have loved empowering and supporting patients and families to know that they are able to get through anything. Working for a hospice agency, I have been able to help patients have dignity at some of the most vulnerable times in their lives. Being with patients and their families at the end of life is a privilege. It has been an honor to have been with so many at that time. Pretty touching stuff. I also love the pride I feel in my work. Being a nurse is one of the most challenging jobs someone could do. It's physically and mentally demanding at times. However, at the end of the day, you feel amazing satisfaction and pride. Being able to help those in need for a living is unlike any other profession. It's quite beautiful. Okay, I'm going to give you one more story. This is a nurse who is still a student. She's a family nurse practitioner. She's an RN with an MSN, and let's see, a student family nurse practitioner. Okay, here we go. So you can have your master's in another area and still pursue the nursing, the nurse practitioner. So you can have a bachelor's or a master's degree in another science and then pursue the RN and the nurse practitioner. Okay, so here is her story. I was not the person that grew up always wanting to be a nurse, like me. I always wanted to be a teacher. However, when I found out I was eligible for the nursing program at the college I was attending, I decided to pursue it as a possibility. I never imagined how that spur-of-the-moment decision would change my life. Once I started classes, I fell in love with every aspect of nursing. After working for a while, I went back to school and became a nursing instructor in the classroom and clinical. It is the perfect balance of hands-on patient care and teaching the next generation of nurses. I love when my students have that aha moment as they put together the big picture of the patient, the diagnosis, medications, and treatment plans. I love seeing the growth of the new nursing students to their preceptorship. It is always a blessing to see them in the hospital later as nurses succeeding at their calling. How about that? Wow. Wow. So, yeah. So I think we're an interesting breed. So this nurse thought she wanted a different career, saw an opportunity and thought, oh, let me take it, and wound up loving it. She said, I fell in love with every aspect of nursing. I just think it's really terrific. I don't see any callers or comments coming in, so I'll just keep chatting on. Know that if you have something you want to say or comment, etc., that we're live. You can tune in right now to the Travel Nurse channel on Facebook. We are archived. Many of these broadcasts have been archived on Facebook. You can also find us on YouTube. There's archives in there as well. And if you think that there's something you want to offer to travel nurses, maybe you're a recruiter, maybe you're you have housing for nurses, maybe you have, oh, by the way, we have someone that is a new sponsor of the Travel Nurse channel, and they are currently looking for a very unique LVN. In California, the Board of Nursing provides a license that's known as the LVN. That's a licensed vocational nurse. And this is a unique opportunity for a nurse that may be interested in clients for their weight loss. So this nurse would be medically supervising patients with their weight loss. She or he would be working for an individual that's been in business for many years. I forget, they told me 17 years maybe. So tune into the Nurse Travel channel or go to our website to find out more about this position. We are going to be running a campaign for, it's in San Diego. And if you like working with people, if you have any experience in weight loss programs, and if you really can get your passion behind a product that is helpful to the client, this may be a great match for you. It's somewhat clinical, but it's much more in the counseling and sales of a terrific weight loss program that this company came to us with, and they are now a sponsor at the Travel Nurse channel. So, there's so many aspects, particularly with travelers. Travel nursing is a big piece. We're a large group, the nurses are, but many other disciplines are traveling. For example, respiratory therapists travel. And when I say travel, that's that broad. You could be traveling within a state. You could be traveling cross country. You could be traveling from Ohio to Hawaii, from Hawaii to Alaska, where the needs are. There are a lot of needs throughout the United States. And I do believe there are international travel nurse programs, not my area of expertise, but another area. I did talk about it. Maybe that's something to get into. Let me know if you're interested. Early on, when I started doing these broadcasts, there were a few people that asked, how do you travel from country to country? And there are some very specific organizations that you would need to get involved with to do that, but it is done, and it's important. Some of those travel assignments could be like 1 or 2 year commitments. Generally, a travel assignment in the United States is 90 days or 13 weeks. Occasionally clients will ask, during pandemic, a lot of assignments were extended. So, 13 weeks, if you double that, be 26-week assignments. Or maybe you went for 13 weeks and they really were still quite short. The pandemic was in process and they asked you, can you stay another month or something? So you can extend your contracts. But generally, travel assignments are 13-week assignments. Generally, they're full-time. Sometimes there's options to work more or less. Sometimes you may sign up, if they're clinical shifts in the hospital, you might sign up for 4 shifts a week or 7 in a pay period, which is a 2-week generally. So you work out the contract however you want. Recruiters, I invite you to come on and talk to us about all this travel nursing because you really have a great inside picture. Let's see. Travelers can be ultrasound technicians or MRI techs or respiratory therapists or physical therapy doctors or traveling occupational therapy doctors, masters, assistants, surgical surgical techs or certified surgical techs. There's different acronyms for all of these positions, but the Travel Nurse Channel, we're here for you. We want you to feel that we understand you, that you're a unique group of people, an important group of people. Thank you for all you do. It's been a rough, more than a year now with this pandemic, and I know you're working very hard. And some of my closer friends and associates have really felt the strain of it, Hence, travel nursing is nice. Maybe you want a little something different. Maybe you want to get away from the acute and the critical piece of the healthcare realm that you've been involved in. Maybe it's time for you to use your skills in a different area, managed care. What did I read about an area that sort of surprised me that Chris talked about? Informatics, labor relations, another area. I mean, some hospitals, many hospitals in California have unions. So you could maybe be thinking about being a union rep. Travelers also, if you're new to traveling, you may be pleasantly surprised. You may have thought about it and then all of a sudden an opportunity arose and you felt free enough to make a move. Maybe it was something you and your family wanted to try. For whatever reason that you got into travel nursing doesn't mean that you can't be involved in different areas of nursing. Labor relations, for example, informatics. It depends on where your skill, possibly your special certifications, have brought you. And maybe while you were traveling, you gained other knowledge that you could then pursue the certificate with. So it's so many opportunities. So really, it's just almost mind-boggling. From where I came from in the early to mid-70s, getting a degree and getting my RN in one state, to the 80s, where I moved to another state and practiced nursing. Yeah, knowledge grows. It's wonderful. And here's something, I saw a little bit of this early in my career, and I would see it from time to time, and I didn't understand it. But of course, we're human beings with all our frailties and hiccups and issues. But sharing knowledge, why keep it to yourself? I mean, I don't get that. Jealousy and envy are not good things, but human beings experience that. And so little tidbits, the littlest little thing that you do, it's just wonderful to share with someone else. If it makes a patient's life better, if it makes them more comfortable, if it empowers them in their own care, why wouldn't you want to share that? I want to think of, I'm talking sort of vaguely, but of little things that I learned along the way. Well, early in my career, I had a very sick patient. She'd been hospitalized for many, I want to say like 7 or 8, a long, long time. And I'd seen her. She'd come on to the med surg unit, the surgical unit really, and back into the ICU and bounce back. Oh, I hear my little granddaughter. A few more minutes, darling girl. So she'd been back and forth in her she'd had multiple surgeries. She had a very sick gut. I don't even remember her diagnosis, but so I came on duty my day to take care of her. And it might have been a day or an evening. It wasn't a night. I would remember if it was a night shift. It was probably a day shift or an evening shift. And I went in to greet her and so forth. And I said, "How are you feeling?" I said, "I'm going to be your nurse today. And probably around, it was maybe 7 in the morning. I said, probably around 9:30 or 10 after your breakfast, I'm going to get in here and we'll get you a bath. I know you can't get to the shower yet, but how does it sound if we can get you a shampoo?" And she sighed. She said, "I can't remember the last time I had a shampoo." And so, so that was a big goal for me. And as I recall, I didn't get to it when I hoped to get to it. Let's assume it was a day shift. I can't honestly remember because I did work a lot of evening shifts before I switched to 12-hour shifts, or to many of the hospitals switching to 12-hour shifts. Because I've been a nurse for like 100 years. So in the early days, in the 70s, we did a lot of 8-hour shifts, particularly back east. And then some point in the 80s, that transition occurred. We transitioned back and forth to 10 hours and 12 hours. And then the 12 stuck. And they were great. When you're young, it's great. Anyway, so I talked to my charge nurse and maybe some of my colleagues, and I said, "I'm taking care of, this patient." And they all were very much aware of this patient because she'd been back and forth to the surgical unit and the back and forth between the ICU and the surgical unit for a while. And I said, "I really want to give her a shampoo today. She needs it badly." And they said, "Oh, call so-and-so, blah, blah, blah. They have the shower, the bed shower device." I'm like, "What?" I was just going to put towels down and do the best I could, but they actually had something rigged. You know what it reminded me of? I don't know if we even had those back in the day, but the slip and slide that the kids play on out on the grass. It was like a slip and slide and, plastic apparatus, and you ran it into a large trash can, and then you just took, whatever you could pour with, a cup or a pitcher or whatever, and shampoo. So it turned out, I want to say, if it was a 8-hour shift, it turned out probably in the last hour or two of the shift. So if it was a 7 to 3:30 shift, probably somewhere around 1:30 or 2, I was able to get this lady her poor little head, some warm water and a shampoo. But how did I get onto that? Those little things made, the teaching, the sharing of information, because I was just gonna, use towels and wash rags and shampoo as best I could, and probably not rinse it out completely, but get her wet and soaped and somehow clean. And then found out about a device because I was an agency nurse and I didn't know what their central supply or their, ICU supply or whatever, what they had in store for me. And I got to use that shampoo. I don't know what it was called, the slip and slide shampoo device. Anyway, so why do I love being a nurse? Well, why do you love being a human being? Because you care about other human beings, because you can take things you learn in a classroom and you learn in the clinical setting that help others. You learn a lot about time management, and you learn how to apply uh, the biology, the chemistry, the medicine, the techniques. You know, what is a fireman like being a fireman? I mean, they run into fire where most of us run away from fire. So we run into this hotbed of pain and trauma and human condition and make a difference. And I do want to say the loving touch, and that one gal that what was her title? LPN is a great title. Oh, where is she? Darling person. Let's see. She worked in hospice and palliative care. I'll find her. I'll find her. There she is. She was an LPN CHPLN, a certified hospice palliative licensed nurse. And she said it was rewarding. It was hard at times, but she knew she made a difference. And I think that's what it was. You get to take the things you learn and study and make a difference. So fabulous career. Hectic. We're kind of like the firemen, you know, a little bit crazy that we like to do what we do, and the policemen that like to do what we do. But if you can see someone who's tense, like that poor little surgical patient that had been so sick for so long and just needed warm water poured on her poor little scalp, you know, it's empowering others. It's empowering yourself. It's a wonderful profession. You almost never stop learning. I learned so much from, I remember this wonderful infection control doctor, this happy attitude. He was from Louisiana. He used to come on the unit and say, "Hey, mamas, what's shaking?" Adorable guy, knowledgeable guy. And what he did for his patients, he helped so many teams of doctors and nurses, you know, at the ends of our ropes with our patients that were not doing well, and, you know, providing the knowledge and the medicines that would help. I remember when I was a per diem nurse working with a pain management doctor, another doctor that was big, tall, strapping guy and cheerful as he could be. But I thought, you know, when I had a chance to meet him the second or third time, I said, "What a wonderful job you have. You seem so, what do I want to say, elated by it," or that's not, maybe not elated, but there's a certain joy into providing the care that he did, this pain management, and us getting to help him with that. Yeah, I mean, there's been such wonderful experiences with teams, with doctors, with patients families. It's been an amazing career for me. I think for others too. I'd love to hear from some of the travel nurses, you know, your better experiences, even your not so better ones, because from the tough times we learn things, and then we share them with others, right? So I was going to try and think of a little practical thing I learned. Well, one of them was that shower thing. Another little practical thing I learned, let me use a little example. In the hospitals, I don't know, things have probably changed. I haven't been, lucky me, I haven't been in a hospital inpatient. I've been an outpatient. Many of you know I cracked my wrist. It's much better. I'm going to always tell the weather with it. It's much better. It hurts a little. But for patients that are inpatients, almost everybody gets a little welcome kit, which often includes a pitcher and a cup for water, a bath basin, a basin to wash up your face and neck and, freshen up every day if you can't get out of bed. What else is in there? Usually there's some lotion in there. If you're lucky, there's a toothbrush. I don't think you get floss. You'll have to ask from home for that if you're well enough to floss. Anyway, but in those little welcome kits, those basins and pitchers and cups and so forth, is often a small, this is not it, but a small box of Kleenex. And often, if it doesn't come in that little basin, when you get a meal, something from the dietary department to order your meals, whether you prefer tea for breakfast or juice or coffee or milk, whatever, you get to order it if you're well enough, and you get a pencil. You get a little tiny, I love little tiny teeny pencils because my son loved little tiny teeny pencils. This is a large pencil. Well, one nurse, I saw her do this and I went, oh, what a great idea. And then I took it and added to that idea. But she took that little tissue box and plucked the pencil into it, so it kind of went through and stayed put. So now at the bedside table, your patient has water, hopefully, and a pencil and Kleenex handy. Okay, if they say to you, often the patients will see you in the morning and go, oh, is my doctor here? You may or may not have an idea when their doctor will be there, but if you've been there traveling for a couple of weeks, you may know that Dr. Let's just say Dr. Red. Dr. Red, well, let's say Dr. Redding. Dr. Redding usually makes his rounds at 8 o'clock, or Dr. Redding usually makes his rounds at 11 o'clock, whatever. Say, Dr. Redding will be here about 11 o'clock. He usually is. So if he's on schedule today, you'll see him around 11-ish. And if you have any questions, you flip over that tissue box, pop out your pencil, and jot it down when you think of your questions, because the doctor comes in and will usually say, how are you? And we usually say, fine, whether we are or not. It's just how we roll. I'm okay. How are you, right? It's just sort of a routine. So anyway, that nurse that developed that little trick of popping a pencil into the tissue box, I can't tell you how many people I shared that with. And then I said, and they can actually write their questions on there, because we're always searching for a piece of paper. Now you're in the hospital. You don't have your trousers with your pocket with your pieces of paper. You don't have your purse with your pieces of paper. That's some old bill or an envelope. So these little handy dandy, it's great. It's great. That's a little thing. I mean, there are many, many things. Little tricks with chest tubes, little tricks with IVs, little tricks with so many things we learn along the way. Practical things, scientific things. Anyway, I'm going to sign off. I don't see any questions, but I appreciate you. I have some people lined up coming soon to talk about nursing education. I have somebody that's going to talk about a long career in being a basic life support, advanced life support, pediatric life support, a long career in that training. Lovely, lovely nurse. I've known her for years. She's teaching me. Actually, she's going to update my BLS. She and I are going to have a meeting soon. So lots of people coming. Another financial person. We had a wonderful financial guy. What was his name? I think it was Walter. I keep forgetting. Was it Ron? Was it Walter? He was wonderful. So if you're looking for references for anything, from new scrubs to recruiters to jobs, don't forget there's an LVN job out there for that unique LVN. I think it's in the San Diego area that really is passionate about weight loss and special products that this weight loss group is looking for. You'll see our campaign is starting soon, so be on the lookout for that, or call us, or check out our website, or email me. You can email me at Rita, R-I-T-A, at travelnursechannel.com. Rita at travelnursechannel.com. You can call 800-737-6518 anytime. We're on Pacific Standard Time, so if it's the middle of the night, we probably won't answer, but we'll get to you as soon as possible. There you go. I love being a nurse. And many other nurses have many, many stories. I've given you just a couple. And travel nursing, what a blast, huh? So many opportunities to learn, to grow, to travel, to new places. It can be really, really satisfying. Okay, at the very least satisfying, at the very best wonderful. I'm going to sign off with my favorite little commercial. Thanks for tuning in, and tell your nurse friends, and we'll see you soon, every Tuesday for sure. Travel Nurse Channel at 10 a.m. Pacific Standard Time. Take care. Take care of yourself while you take care of others. I think that's my slogan.
Travel nursing can bring you to places you've never been before. Tell us your story.